World War I marked a pivotal moment for women. As men went off to fight, women stepped into roles that had traditionally been held by men. From working in munitions factories to serving as nurses on the front lines, women proved their strength and resilience. One such woman was Edith Cavell, a British nurse who became a symbol of bravery. During the war, she helped over 200 Allied soldiers escape from German-occupied Belgium. Captured by the Germans, she was executed in 1915. Her story brought international attention to the plight of nurses and the sacrifices they made. But nursing was not the only field in which women made their mark. Organizations such as the Women's Army Corps and voluntary aid detachments were formed, allowing women to serve in various positions. They became drivers, mechanics, and even spies. We continue this with female spies in the war, the most prominent of whom is Virginia Hall, the American spy in World War II. Despite her wooden leg, she worked for Britain's Special Operations Service and then the Office of Strategic Services, conducting sabotage operations in France. Her bold actions earned her the nickname the Lame Lady among the Nazis. Hall's courage exemplifies how women defied all odds to contribute to the war effort. After World War I, many women fought to maintain their jobs and independence. However, social changes had only just begun. By the time World War II broke out, women were not only expected to work, but were also formally conscripted into military roles. Rosie the Riveter has become a symbol of female empowerment. Women across the United States took jobs in factories, producing aircraft, ammunition, and other vital supplies. This was a turning point not only for the war, but for the movement toward gender equality. World War II marked a global conflict of unprecedented scale, significantly transforming the roles of women who became essential to wartime efforts. The involvement of women during World War II was far broader than in World War I. By 1945, over 2.2 million women were employed in war industries such as shipbuilding, aircraft manufacturing, automotive production, and armaments. Women also worked in munitions factories, on farms, drove trucks, and provided logistical support for soldiers, entering professional fields that had previously been dominated by men. In Allied countries, thousands of women were recruited as nurses to serve on the front lines, while others joined defensive militias at home. A significant increase in the number of women enlisted in the military occurred, especially in the Soviet Union, where women served in various roles, including combat. In the United States, approximately 400,000 women served in the armed forces, with over 460, some sources estimate closer to 543, losing their lives in the conflict. After the war, the Women's Armed Services Integration Act of 1948 officially recognized women as a permanent part of the U.S. military. Hundreds of thousands of women also served in combat support roles, particularly in anti-aircraft units. Although the U.S. did not deploy women in direct combat due to public opposition, many women participated in the resistance movements across Europe, including in France, Italy, Poland, Britain's Special Operations Executive, and the U.S. Office of Strategic Services. In contrast, the Imperial Japanese Army exploited women in occupied territories, forcing many into sexual slavery, known as comfort women. Additionally, an estimated 2 million Jewish women were killed during the Holocaust, along with other disabled women and Roma women as part of the Nazi systematic genocide. After the wars, women faced a new challenge: how to maintain the rights and independence they had fought so hard to achieve. That the seeds planted during these turbulent times led to the women's rights movements of the 1960s and beyond. At the onset of World War I, despite thousands of new recruits, the U.S. Navy faced a manpower shortage. The Navy Act of 1916 contained ambiguities in its language regarding eligibility for service, creating a legal loophole that allowed women to enlist as non-commissioned officers. Approximately 12,000 women joined the Navy, serving as petty officers. These women primarily replaced men deployed to Europe. While many took on clerical roles, others served as truck drivers, mechanics, radio operators, telephone operators, translators, camouflage artists, and munitions handlers. They performed the same duties as their male counterparts and received equal pay of $28.75 per month. In this picture, we will see the role of German women as assistants in the war effort in 1917. As for these pictures, we will see women working in a gas mask factory in Geneva, Switzerland. World War I significantly impacted the lives of millions of women, many of whom were widowed or became caregivers for injured family members. Nearly 1 million women, however, directly contributed to the war effort by taking on roles in munitions factories. Known as the Canary Girls and Tommy Sisters, these women played a pivotal role in supporting Britain's largest arms production campaign in history. The role of women in World War I and World War II was transformative, not only for the women themselves, but also for the societies in which they lived. During these tumultuous periods, women stepped beyond traditional domestic roles, taking on responsibilities that were crucial to the war effort. They served as nurses, factory workers, and even combatants, demonstrating resilience and capability in the face of adversity. In World War I, women's contributions were vital to sustaining national economies and providing care for wounded soldiers. The establishment of organizations like the Voluntary Aid Detachments, VADs, allowed women to serve on the front lines, tending to the sick and injured. Their involvement challenged societal norms and laid the groundwork for future advancements in gender equality.
World War II expanded these roles even further. With millions of men enlisted, women filled positions in munitions factories, became pilots in the Air Transport Auxiliary, and served in military services worldwide. Iconic figures like Rosie the Riveter symbolize this shift, showcasing women's strength and determination. This era marked a significant cultural shift, as women proved they could perform jobs traditionally reserved for men, fundamentally changing perceptions of gender roles. The legacy of women's contributions during these wars is profound. It not only accelerated the movement toward gender equality, but also inspired future generations to advocate for their rights. As we reflect on these historical narratives, it is essential to recognize and honor the sacrifices made by women. Their stories, often overlooked, remind us that the fight for equality continues, and that the courage displayed during these pivotal moments in history has paved the way for a more inclusive future. Thank you for joining me in exploring the incredible and often untold stories of women in World Wars I and II. Their contributions were pivotal in shaping history and advancing the fight for gender equality. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might appreciate these important narratives. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more engaging content on history and beyond. Your support helps us continue to highlight the stories that deserve to be told. Until next time, take care.